They erased a human outpost, now Earth's war machines darkened the skies. The Zephyrian High Command had expected many things when they obliterated the human research station on Kepler 442b. They had expected silence from the galactic community after all humans were barely a century into their spacefaring age, practically infants among the stars. They had expected their message to be received clearly: stay out of Zephyrian space. What they had not expected was the complete and utter darkness that now consumed their homeworld sky. Admiral Kethvar stood on the observation deck of the flagship Stellar Dominion, watching as massive geometric shadows moved across the stars like hungry predators. The human fleet had arrived 3 days ago, not with the desperate fury of a young species seeking vengeance, but with the cold, methodical precision of apex predators who had been momentarily inconvenienced. "Sir," Communications Officer Zelthara's voice cracked through the bridge speakers. "The humans are broadcasting on all frequencies again." Kethvar's four eyes narrowed. The humans had been transmitting the same message for 72 hours, and each repetition sent ice through his blue-tinged veins. "Play it," he commanded. The voice that filled the bridge was neither angry nor threatening. It was worse, it was matter-of-fact, spoken with the same tone one might use to discuss the weather. "This is Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Confederation. 72 hours ago, you murdered 237 human civilians conducting peaceful xenobotanical research on Kepler 442b. You have 72 hours from the time of this broadcast to surrender unconditionally. This offer will not be repeated." The message ended, leaving the bridge in suffocating silence. "How long until the deadline?" Kethvar asked, though he already knew. 17 minutes, sir." Through the reinforced transparasteel, Kethvar could see the human constructs. They defied easy categorization, part spacecraft, part factory, part nightmare. Each one was roughly the size of a Zephyrian dreadnought. But where Zephyrian ships were elegant curves meant to slice through space and atmosphere with grace, the human vessels were angular, brutal things that looked like they had been forged in the heart of a dying star. What terrified him most was their number. Intelligence had reported 37 human warships entering the system. Sensors now detected over 400 vessels, with more materializing every hour. The humans weren't just building their fleet, they were manufacturing it in real time, using materials stripped from the asteroids in Zephyra's outer system. "Sir, we're receiving a priority transmission from the surface," Zelthara announced. "It's Supreme Chancellor Vorthak." The holographic image of the Zephyrian leader materialized, his usually pristine silver ceremonial robes disheveled, his primary eyes wide with panic. "Admiral, you must listen to me," the Chancellor gasped. "Our xenobiology teams have analyzed the human response. These aren't just warships, they're automated foundries. Each one can replicate itself using raw materials. They're not planning to defeat us, Admiral. They're planning to consume our entire system and turn it into more war machines." Kethvar felt his respiratory slits constrict. "Surely they wouldn't. They've already begun mining operations on 17 asteroids and 2 of our outer moons. Their efficiency is unprecedented. At current rate, they'll have stripped everything within the habitable zone within the next 48 hours. A new sound echoed through the bridge, a low harmonic thrumming that seemed to come from the very walls. Through the observation port, Kethvar watched as the human constructs began to move, their formations shifting like a deadly dance choreographed by cold mathematics. "Sir," Tactical Officer Morton's voice was high with panic. "The human fleet is powering weapons." But Kethvar wasn't looking at the fleet anymore. He was looking at the space behind them, where the darkness was moving. What he had assumed was the shadow of their massive ships was something else entirely, a structure so vast it defied comprehension, blotting out entire constellations. "By the void," he whispered. "What is that?" Zelthara's equipment chirped as new data flowed across her screens. "Sir, it appears to be a shipyard, a mobile shipyard. Preliminary scans indicate it's approximately 800 kilometers in length." The implications hit Kethvar like a plasma bolt to the chest. The humans hadn't sent a fleet for revenge. They had sent an industrial complex. The 237 dead researchers weren't just civilians to be mourned. They were an investment that someone had decided to collect on with interest. "Open a channel to the human fleet," Kethvar commanded, his voice hollow. "Channel open, sir. This is Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Navy to Fleet Admiral Chen. We wish to discuss terms." The response came immediately in that same terrifyingly casual tone. "Admiral Kethvar, your deadline expired 4 minutes ago. However, the Terran Defense Confederation is prepared to accept your unconditional surrender. You have 1 hour to power down all military installations and prepare for occupation forces. Resistance will result in the complete industrial conversion of your system. Admiral Chen out." As the transmission ended, Kethvar watched a new wave of human constructs emerge from the mobile shipyard. Hundreds of them, sleek and deadly, their hulls still glowing with the heat of rapid fabrication. They spread out like a plague of metal locusts, each one capable of reproduction, each one carrying the cold fury of a species that had learned the hard way that in the darkness between stars, only the strong survived. The Zephyrians had erased a human outpost, expecting to swat away an annoying insect. Instead, they had awakened something far older and more terrible than their own ancient civilization. Human ingenuity married to human wrath, expressed through the absolute mastery of industrial warfare. In the observation lounge of the human flagship, Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen reviewed the tactical displays with satisfaction. The Kepler 442b research station had been more than a scientific outpost. It had been a testing ground for humanity's new rapid deployment military-industrial doctrine. The Zephyrians had just provided the perfect field test. She opened a comm, channel to Earth Command. "Admiral Chen to Sol Station. Operation Thunderforge is proceeding nominally. Zephyrian surrender expected within the hour. Recommend we begin Phase 2 integration protocols." As she spoke, the massive foundry ships continued their work, turning dead rock into instruments of war, each new vessel a testament to humanity's most dangerous trait, the ability to turn any setback into an opportunity for improvement. The stars themselves seemed to approve.